as you know, J.K. Rowling is a bit of a lightning rod for controversy, has been for quite a few years, given her stance on transgenderism and all things in that realm. But right now, what's going on is that HBO Max is producing a Harry Potter live-action television series for the Max streaming platform, and it's really interesting to watch how everyone that simultaneously loves Harry Potter but hates J.K. Rowling has to live in an eternal lifetime of cope as they deal with the fact that they love something that was made by a person they dislike. No way is this more perfectly illustrated than the Discussing Film tweet about this topic.
Whoever runs the Discussing Film account, I just want to tell you, if you're watching, you're cringe.
Yeah,
This was their tweet. Known transphobe, J.K. Rowling is now reported to be an active executive producer on the Harry Potter series, where she will be, gasp, involved in the show's decision-making. Given that she owns the franchise, that shouldn't be all that surprising to anyone.
No, it's actually kind of crazy how many people, like somebody said, like IP laws prevent them from stopping this. I'm like, you mean like IP laws prevent you from stealing something that belongs to someone else?
If they're insane. A transphobe, then they don't deserve to own their own IPs, is what they're saying. Yeah.
And then other these articles, it says, Harry Potter fans outraged over J.K. Rowling's iron grip on new HBO Max series. Look, she was the same thing with the movies. She had final say on everything, which is why you got very, very real like depictions of the characters.
Sure.
I would say other than Harry, who doesn't have the damn green eyes.
That's better though, right? We want the creators of these franchises to care about the integrity of what's made in their wake, right?
Absolutely, you do.
People like the Percy Jackson author seem to not care as long as they get social justice brownie points for cheering on race swaps and everything like that. This is a good thing. And it's a good thing that she wants to micromanage the integrity of these stories.
It's unbelievably ironic watching a channel called Discussing Film turn the comments off.
No, yeah, they turned off the replies to this tweet so that they can call her a transphobe and not hear anything about it. I hope that she sues whoever is behind this account because, they're just going to add to her bank account. They're just paying her bills.
Is she going to get sued for something like that? Is this not their opinion of her?
Known transphobe definitely implies something factual, right? And they're trying to hurt her career. I think she would have grounds to sue.
You cannot do it.
There are so many people adding to the dog pile at this point that you can't even take action.
Harry Potter is the definition of terminally online. The hate for Harry Potter is for terminally online people, and the real world is where you see the vast difference between Twitter and what actual real human beings feel about the franchise. Because as far as it goes at Universal, it's still unbelievably popular. The movies are still unbelievably popular, and not just on Max, it's on other streaming platforms as well. It's actually become, in a weird way, the movies have become their own type of Christmas seasonal franchise where it gets promoted every Christmas and Thanksgiving to start watching the movies again. And the people that have a real problem with it are the people that are terminally online and focused on LGBTQIA rights and other such things, right? Like they're not the average everyday person, because you'll see a lot of regular content. Like I follow a good mix of like people who are both like part of the culture war. I also follow plenty of like normie people in the world, and I've never once seen like a normie person post Harry Potter content where they don't get then trashed by somebody in the comments and they're like, what are you talking about? Leave me alone. Like, my kids like Harry Potter. Leave me alone.
Vast amounts of normies who are fans of Harry Potter who don't know anything about the controversies that surround J.K. Rowling. And she would prefer to keep it that way, but they're the ones who keep bringing it up. And they're literally the meme that's like, shut up and take my money. Even though they hate her, they're addicted to paying her bills.
That has to be an unbelievably painful, I guess. It could be fair to point out that there's plenty of people, I guess, in this space who like don't like Hollywood but still like engage with Hollywood. So maybe it's a little bit of the same thing where it's like, I hate Hollywood, but I'm still going to do all of this stuff.
But
right?
The difference is that for these people, the mainstream Hollywood establishment caters to their every whim, and when one person defects from that narrative, they lose their freaking minds.
She literally disagrees with them on one thing.
Yeah, and for us, it's just like, yeah, people in Hollywood don't agree with our opinions. That doesn't really matter. We don't torture ourselves caring about that.
No. And I'm more than happy to compliment something if it's good. The only difference is we're also willing to put stuff down and critique stuff when it's bad. And that's how everyone should be. Everyone should be willing to criticize or compliment this stuff based on merits. Oddly enough, it's funny because that is an interesting point of discussion where merits is different for each person. But for them, they're not critiquing it based on merit. They're critiquing it based on their interpretation of that person, whereas we try to do the opposite. We have to go into most movies knowing that we would disagree pretty heavily with most of the people making these films and then have to judge accordingly, not taking that into account. They can't seem to separate art from artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other day you said they love Voldemorting people.
They do. They love
have
not speaking
made
the
J.K.
names.
Rowling into the Voldemort of her own franchise. They can't even criticize her outside of the context of what she created.
They're still mad about Hogwarts Legacy doing as well as it did, becoming like one of the best-selling games of the entire year last year. Mm-hmm. And they can't stand seeing somebody be as successful as she is when she refuses to back down. Again, on one singular issue, she is likely all in with you guys on literally everything else. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
Do you think that we should review this show? Because honestly, I feel optimistic about how the show is going to turn out, just because, it's derivative content like everything else.
Oh, I still don't think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But we should probably review it, depending on
I just feel bad for the kids who have been cast for this project, who are going to be subjected to so much media training in order to dissociate themselves from the author, who shall not be named. They're going to have to trot out the expected lines.
She's also one of the number one people that you're going to see whenever they talk about her tweets, but then they never actually link to any of the tweets because everything she says is so normal.
Well, she believes that men shouldn't be in women's abuse shelters.
Correct.
Oh, the horror.
And opened her own abuse shelter for biological women.
And then adding to their outrage, it says Max is open to making multiple Harry Potter shows. Yep. Writers have been making pitches this week, Deadline reported. So this isn't over yet. If anything comes after this, they're probably going to, if this one show does well, they'll approve other ones.
Yeah, well,
I doubt it will.
What they may end up doing is looking to see which characters pull ahead.
Yeah.
Which is a safe way to do it. See which characters end up resonating with other people. The problem is, just because a character resonates with an audience doesn't mean that character is interesting enough to carry their own show.
No, yeah. I also looked at this tweet calling her the Iron Lady of Harry Potter.
Yeah, I saw that.
She has this iron grip on the franchise.
Hers!
It says, as someone who worked as a wand keeper at Universal Studios for a couple years, it was made very clear to me early on how much influence and power J.K. Rowling had over everything Harry Potter related. I was told that she was very involved in the look and construction of the wizarding worlds in LA and Orlando. I'd heard from more than one reliable source that she had one of the parks tear down what they had built halfway through construction because they had not used the materials and contractors she recommended.
That's so awesome.
And
honestly, that's so freaking awesome.
When I was given the script for the Wand Keeper show, it was stressed numerous times how there was no place for improving lines during the show, and if we were caught doing so, we'd get written up.
That's
serious business.
That is the most base thing I've heard in a very, very long time. You should keep an iron claw over your property. This is why people want to complain about Star Wars. Well, George Lucas sold it, right? She's not selling Harry Potter to anyone, and that's a good thing. She should keep a hold of it and not. She made plenty of mistakes on her own with the race swaps and the rewriting of characters. She's not free of fault. She's
in a way, she invited this.
Yeah.
She courted this type of audience who would turn on her on a dime.
But the idea that she's just no, that's not the company I want making my. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, who do you think has like a more...
I actually do have I'm still not, like, I do think that she screwed up by not supporting Johnny Depp for that final Fantastic Beasts movie.
Right.
Him get recast. I wasn't a fan of that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But also, she's a feminist, you know?
Yes, she is.
Like, what would you expect from her? She's still liberal. She's still strongly feminist and always has been. I wouldn't expect anything else from her. But who do you think has a more iconic franchise at this point? George Lucas or J.K. Rowling?
I think hers still.
Hers is more iconic.
I'm sorry, his still. I think Star Wars probably has more.
It's run itself into the ground.
Maybe let's ask
so badly.
Let's ask the chat that.
I don't think that Harry Potter's the Harry Potter franchise has run itself into the ground as irreparably as Star Wars has.
I think most people would say Star Wars, but Star Wars has just done so much damage to itself since being bought by Disney.
But there's still plenty of time, I guess, for Harry Potter to fall into the same mistakes.
But these are the icons of the last 30 to 40 years, right? Star Wars, Star Trek, now Harry Potter. What else?
Yeah.
And
it's hard to say.
Harry Potter would resonate more with even younger audiences in a way that Star Wars wishes that it could now.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I put the poll up there for everyone. I said, which franchise is more iconic?
I feel like Harry Potter is going to have longer legs.
We'll have to, if she holds on to it and she doesn't sell it off, it could absolutely be there one day. But I don't think... Because
she probably saw, like, George Lucas's massive mistake in selling it.
Star Wars may be
himself from it.
Star Wars may be a more iconic franchise, but as far as number valuation, I bet you Harry Potter is worth more.
Yeah. But it's only because of what Disney did to Star Wars that is the case.
Yep. And I wish I could find that tweet the person had said, IP laws stop they're basically saying, like, if it weren't for those damn IP laws, we could take your property because these people are socialists and communists and believe that the art should belong to them.
That's how they feel about Lord of the Rings as well.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about putting that in there, but I guess that wasn't really the point of this discussion. But, like, the idea that is how a lot of them feel about it. They feel the same way about Harry Potter that they feel about government, right? That it's like, because we paid for it, we gave you money, therefore it should belong to us. Well, it doesn't.
It's weird because the narrative of the whole writer's strike was that they deserve more ownership over the things they create.
Yeah.
How is J.K. Rowling any exception to that rule?
Yep. And,
other than your personal biases against her, and I don't really like her that much. You know, like she's a feminist ideologue. We disagree on most things. I respect that she has this much control, this much creative control, and isn't willing to back down, and you know that she hasn't apologized for any of her opinions. She has more integrity than most.
Creative integrity, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but also just on a personal level, it seems like she's probably been pressured by so many people to back down and apologize, or not even apologize, but soften her language. And she's a billionaire and doesn't have to.
She's also more by being on Twitter, like, is just more in the space than like a George Lucas is. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if George Lucas tweets, but she's not afraid to share her opinions on hot button social issues. But she is also kind of proof that her opinions on it don't seem to hurt her business model.
Yeah, but I think it's because most people don't know or care.
Yeah. And also it grew well past the ability for that to quash it quickly. Like, the franchise was already so popular by the time that started becoming a problem that it wouldn't have mattered. Now, if it was a new franchise and she was talking stuff that was pissing people off early on, maybe it would have affected it more, but I just don't believe that the average person cares.
Right.
The average everyday person does not care about your thoughts on social issues if you create something engaging and worth watching.
Yeah, these people who are outraged really believe that they have an outsized influence on the public opinion. But like with most things, most people just aren't as chronically online.
This person says, I don't know if you can call her one of the most influential women in history. She wrote popular children's books. She's not Madame Curie or Amelia Earhart. More kids today know who J.K. Rowling is than Amelia Earhart.
I thought that there was like a conspiracy theory that Amelia Earhart's story was fake.
Well, also, there's also the conspiracy theory that J.K. Rowling didn't write the books.
Yeah, that it was actually
by
written by a male committee.
Yeah, a bunch of
and they needed to slap her name on it to make it seem more feminist.
No, which makes no sense because she writes under J.K. Rowling because it's not a gendered name.
Yeah, and she also has a male pseudonym as well.
What's the pseudonym? It's
like Robert.
Oh, Galbraith.
Galbraith. Yeah.
Raoul Bloodgood was something else, but yeah. So I just love to see it because I love the idea of these creators keeping hold of their Hollywood, since the creation of this book series, has changed the way they do business so much that you're never actually going to see this type of story again. Now, when they buy up the rights to books, they buy up the rights to everything. You do not get to hold on to creative control. If you want that advance, if you want to make money from them, you have to sign over the franchise to these companies. So this is the last time you're going to see the standard Hollywood structure work in favor of a creator.
Does J.K. Rowling have children?
Yes.
So they're going to take over her estate.
I believe she has a daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know if she has multiple children, but I believe she has one child, at least. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. I could be wrong about that.
So I guess we're going to see in decades in the future how they handle it.
I love the idea that she just writes it so it goes public domain as soon as she dies.
Yeah, that would be
based.
That'd
be super based.
J.K. Rowling is our favorite. She's our favorite gatekeeper.
She doesn't want her kids to have it because she thinks they'll ruin it. Her kids will never have to work again. There's no reason to continue on any of this. It's going to go on forever.
She is the avatar for Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.